Hmm.
And roses and the right child.
Well, when you hear that music, it only means one thing, right? You're listening to the Grapefully Yours wine blog on InsideLowell.com. And on this podcast, we hope to talk all about wine. That's going to rule the day, wine and food, and we'll have a little fun, and we'll really get your passion going. I'm Jim Campanini, otherwise known as the Wine Novice, and the author of Gratefully Yours Live wine blog that you can find on InsideLowell.com and also on my site at thewinenovice.com. That's www.winenovice.com. So I'm the host of the show, but my co-host, mio caro amico, Michael Pigeon, better known as the Wine Butler. How do you get to be a wine butler?
Well, it used to be known as a gopher until wine came in and became the wine butler. I am not yet the wine head butler, but hopefully in the future.
Well, I remember when we were at a wine tasting at the UMass Club, when David Adelsheim came in from Willamette Valley with his beautiful Pinot Noir wines from Oregon, and you were graceful, led him into the wine tasting room, and he turned to you and then asked you a famous question. Mm-hmm. He said, gee, I've never met a wine butler. What do you do?
Well,
what did you say?
I said, it's only been a couple of years. I'm still not quite sure. But one of my duties is if the wine novice feels it could be a questionable bottle of wine, I have to taste it first to save his good health. And
yes,
that's what I do.
And that's what they used to do, the Medici. I know they always employed someone to taste their wine or drink their food first. So it was always fun. So that's the role that you fill. But how many wine tastings do you think together we've been? We've been we go to wine tastings at local stores, but we've been to some nice food and wine tastings in Boston and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's been not only wine tastings, but from so many different countries: Israel, Portugal, Italy. There's been many.
Have you ever tasted a bad wine?
I've tasted wines that I don't like as much as others, but you can't call them a bad wine.
Okay, good. Anything for free is good.
Anything for free.
Okay. So the goal of this podcast is to bring you the beautiful world of wine and hopefully to give you some education. We want people to learn. That's how I learned many years ago when I found my passion after trips to Italy. And I came back, I started my wine studies, the Wine Scholar Guild in Boston. I got my certification in Italian wines. And it's been a delight because you meet a lot of people, a lot of interesting people in the wine field, and also people who are other, tasters. And I started as a wine novice. I still consider myself a wine novice, even though I have certification, because I learn every time I meet someone new, taste their wine, and I just enjoy it and going all over the world. Is that the same for you?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. So today we want to give you some tips, and as you watch this show, we'll expand on different things so that you get a better appreciation of wine, that you can enjoy it with your family and friends, talk about it, pair it with foods, make it a great experience. And if you participate in our discussions, right, and follow along, because we're going to suggest some wines that you can taste along with us as we go on in the shows, and you pick up some tips. You'll become a very, very good student of wine. You might become a little inebriated at 10 o'clock in the morning, but there's nothing wrong with that if you drink at home, right?
Not for the use with Cheerios.
No, we drink in moderation. We practice a good health, moderation and stuff. And the goal is here just to educate, have some fun, and learn a little about these wines. So, Mike, let's begin. there was a famous man who said this quote: "Men are like wine. Some age gracefully and others turn to vinegar." Who said that? Who said that?
Well, you said man. I know my wife said that to me a few times over the years, but I'm not quite sure.
Come on, take a guess. Men are like wine. Some age gracefully, others turn to vinegar. Just take a guess. If you take a guess, you can have a grape.
Well, it sounds like a holy, was it a holy person back in the ages or something?
Who drank a lot of altar wine.
A pope. Back in the days of the Romans and...
Very good guess. Very good guess. Pope John the 23rd. He said that. One of my favorite quotes. So today we have a special wine for our first show. Take a look at that label. You like that label?
Angels Ink. That's beautiful. Angels Ink with the wings.
I don't know if you can see this. It's Angels Ink Pinot Noir. It's a 2020 vintage wine, and it's from the Central Coast in California. You know the Central Coast? Do you have an idea what it is in California?
Near the Russian River? Is it near the Russian River?
No, that's Sonoma Valley and the near Napa Valley and stuff. The Russian River goes a long way. So Central Coast, and you've had some great wines from there. It's Monterey. It's Napa Valley is considered northern coast, believe it or not. And then you've got way down, San Diego and below that southern coast. So the Central Coast, Monterey, San Luis Obispo, okay, right in that era, Santa Barbara, great wine country because they're along the coast there, some rolling hills. Matter of fact, I think our good friends Michael and David Phillips, who we met, the owners of, they're the producers of Freak Show, Cabernet Sauvignon. We met a couple of times at the Wine Connection
in
Andover.
Andover. Yeah.
So they're right there in Lodi. Is it Lodi or Lodi? Lodi, yeah. So they have some good wines. So this comes from that area. They source the fruit. They source the fruit from a lot of different vineyards over there, and I saw this a couple of weeks ago. Of course, I was drawn in from the label. They want you to see the label, and of course, marketing plays a good role in it. But it's what's inside the bottle that really counts. So I found out when I did my research on this wine before I tasted it with the wine goddess, my beautiful wife Mary Lee. I said, what is Angels Ink? Now, there's an Angels Ink winery that produces this wine. So there's a winery. They have a rosé, and they have this Pinot Noir that they source from local growers and the grapes. So I found out that it says here that the Angels Ink is a term that was used a lot in medieval times by painters, artists, writers, printers. It's a term where they fortified the colors, the ink. So if the artists, they fortified their colors, paint. They say Van Gogh did that using wine, that he fortified his paints to improve the colors. Looking at the research, they said Dante used it for the ink for his Inferno. But the thing that really blew me away was the Magna Carta in the 13th century. King John in England wrote the Magna Carta. He wanted everybody to see it, and he used wine to fortify the ink. Now, maybe that's the reason why there's been so many problems since that time. But so all through history, they've used Angels Ink. That was the term they used, the wine, to fortify the colors in it. So it's just very interesting. Now I'm a big fan of Ernest Hemingway.
Oh, sure.
Right. Do you think he'd used it? Do you think he wrote any books? Do you think he would use Angels Ink, or what would he do with it?
It's a possibility it might never find its way to the quill tip. But I would think that he'd use it for inspiration for his prose, and he'd stick to a pencil or a typewriter.
I think rather than put it in his in his ink. I think he put it in his glass. I think he drank a lot of it, but it's pretty good. So I tasted this wine. Later on in the show, we're gonna have a celebrity taster. Why don't you open that Wine Butler? You know, and open a little water. Now, when we drink wine, and when if you go to my website and read my columns, I always say, wine is to be enjoyed in moderation with friends, but you always pair it with food. I mean, it's okay to come home at the end of a busy day, have a glass of Chardonnay on the porch during the summer, patio sipping, have a little Prosecco, which I usually do. I like a sparkling wine. But we preach here, enjoy wine with food and friends, okay? And you drink in moderation. It helps you. It's been proven that moderate wine drinking can actually help you health. It's improved my golf game.
Yeah, like chocolate, wine, wine.
And I now I start carrying a bottle in my bag, but that's why I always run out of balls. I don't have enough space for the balls. Anyway, but also you should have a water with you. Now, when I do my wine tasting classes, when I used to do them at the adult education in Middlesex, and when I do private wine tastings, I always tell people, you drink 2 sips of water for every sip of wine. Because wine, the alcohol, it dehydrates you, okay? So you always want to have a little water with you, sip it, take a couple of sips with each sip of wine. When you have half a glass, drink some water. It just keeps you hydrated, feeling good, and have some food with it, okay? So, Mike, why don't you pour us a little of this wine? And I'm just going to tell you a little about this wine. So, okay, that's very good. Thank you. I'm going to tell you a little about Angels Ink. So, I was intrigued by it, and I saw this at the New Hampshire liquor store. When I did my research on it, I found out that the suggested retail price for this is $25 a bottle, which is, it's still that's going into the premium era. Now, there's Pinot Noirs that sell up to $100, Burgundy, France, and some good ones in Oregon, and even California. But we like to go for that sweet spot. Wouldn't you agree?
Try to, if you get a good wine at that.
What would you consider a sweet spot price for wine?
For a Pinot Noir, yeah. Well, I can't go above $60, and I don't want to go near 60. So if I can get a nice wine, $16 to $24, that's where I like it.
Exactly. So what we aim to do is find top quality wines, okay, that come along with a good price tag. That's affordable, not going to be a budget busting. They're not going to be 100-point wines, but anything in the high 80, 89, to 92. You can look at the recent Wine Spectator magazine, which they did a story on California Pinot Noirs. I mean, the prices are taken off, just like the Cabernets. I mean, you saw that article. What were some of the prices?
For Cabernets?
No, for the Pinot Noir.
They're over 100, 140.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So this ran for this the published price on the website is $25 suggested retail price. Okay, most stores don't sell it for that, but this was on the shelf at New Hampshire liquor store for $21.99. Still, for wine that I haven't tried before, that was a little pushing it. But what clinched the deal, and I was looking for a couple of new Pinot Noirs, was that it was on sale for $17.99, $4 off. Now that price is going to continue for the rest of this month, okay, until November 27th. With Thanksgiving coming up, a lot of people serve, Pinot Noir with the meals. And if you read my wine blog, in probably another week, I'll be coming out with recommendations for Thanksgiving Day wines. But this Pinot it looked intriguing, and I'll just tell you in my research. This was reviewed by Wine Enthusiasts. It's the 2020 vintage. So this is fresh, right? Within 2 years. This is what Matt Kettman the review of a Wine Enthusiast magazine said. He scored this wine 88 points, which is good. Okay. Highlight it, it says this wine, the wines, it has dense aromas of boysenberry pie, cola spice, and loamy soil on the nose. Have you ever had loamy?
Earthy.
Yeah, earthy. Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't really want to taste any of the loam I have in my backyard or smell it. But I understand. The point is, yes, earthy. Why do they write these things that aren't really common? I guess if a farmer or a gardener, my wife would probably pick
It takes someone with a really fine nose, I feel, to distinguish one between the other. I have a hard time as I get older. My taste buds aren't what they used to be. And to distinguish some of those taste flavors, it's hard. Smells, aromas, it's tough.
So Matt, who's probably a very hard-working reviewer, he also wrote, quote, "The palate is rich and borderline sweet in berry flavors." Now, when we say rich, what does that mean? It means texture, okay, lush, okay, so it's got not syrupy, but it's got a nice round feel in the mouth. Okay, so Wine Enthusiast gave this 88 points. I then checked on Vivino, because that's a common place for people buy wine and check out the wines. So for Vivino users, they rated it 3.9 out of 5. So I was intrigued, and I said, you know what? On a sale price, $4 off, 2020, we're going to try it. So leading in, all right, we're going to show you now how to follow a protocol where you can taste wines. This is Education Class 101. Okay, so this is the 5 S's, the 6 S's of wine, because we want you to really immerse yourself and how you do this. So, Mike, have a grape. We got some nice grapes here. We got some nice crackers with goat cheese, right? So,
I'll probably pick the grape with the seed in it and choke on it. That's what I'll do.
so the 5 S's, the 6 S's, what does that mean? Most wine tasters, when you go to a wine class and tasting, they teach you right off the bat the 5 S's, 6 S's. I keep saying 5, it's 6. Where you get into, you build a process by which you taste the wine, let the sensations out. Because you're very sensitive, and you know what you like, what you don't like. The question is, why do you like a certain wine and don't like it? If you've never put it to paper or tried to understand the taste of wine, you really won't know. So now we want you to get a better appreciation. We want you to tell us your feelings, okay, those sensations with the 5 S's. So the 5 S's, I'm just going to say the 6 S's first is sight, smell and swirl. Those are the two or three. The sip, swallow, and savor. Okay. So first, sight or see. Okay. Let's go there. What's that?
With the C, we have the colors, the clarity, and the brightness of the wine.
Okay. What does that mean? What are the colors? What does that mean?
Well, you can hold different types of grapes that are more heavier than others in color, hold them up to the light, and some of them are almost transparent, very thin. The richer, heavier wines are a little darker color. So that gives you an idea sometimes of what wine you're drinking.
Yes. Very good. Okay. So
along with the
let's look at this wine. Let's look at the color. Okay. Now, the best way to look at this, you hold the foot of the wine, okay? Put it towards the light source, and also put it down with a white background so you can actually see the wine, and it gives a white background so you can see through the wine. What do you see, Mike, when we do this? What do you see in that color?
Well, it's a light ruby.
Yeah. Which is common for Pinot Noir.
Yeah. And I don't know how to describe the red. It's a light ruby. It certainly isn't white wine. It's a red wine.
All right, when you look into that glass, the middle of the center should be the darkest spot, okay? The rim, which is called the meniscus, it lightens up. It becomes a little more pale, all right? So as as wines age, they react differently. Red wines lose color as they age. Okay, they actually turn lighter, browner. So if you had a 25-year-old Burgundy, Brunello, a Barolo, premium wine, this wine would start to turn a little brown along the side, brownish red. Doesn't mean the wine is becoming bad, okay? It just means that it's evolving, developing, okay? And so red wines lose color, white wines gain color. So most people get that wrong, but as wines age, they react differently. The whites, which are straw-colored, pale white, translucent, they actually gain color moving towards amber as they get older. So this is a nice fresh wine. It's only 2 years old. Yep, it's got all those nice colors in it. It's got a little purple hue. All right, but yes, I agree with you. Ruby red, common color for Pinot Noir. Okay, now what I want you to do is put your nose right in there and think about your initial impressions as you smell this wine, because it's going to change. Number two, card number two. What do we do when we smell that wine?
You try to identify the aromas and the intensity of those aromas.
That's right.
How strong they are in your nostrils.
So this is called the bouquet. You can pick one up a market basket for $7.99 this morning for your lovely wife. But no, this is called the bouquet, the nose, the aromas. So you get your nose right in there, and you use your brain to tell you, well, what is that? Is it cherry flavor, olive flavor, dark fruit? Things that you've experienced in your life. You're not going to be able to say it's a flavor that you've never experienced, which started with me when I was a wine novice. Now, my wife is a very good cook. She uses a lot of spices, rosemary, tarragon, and I'd often say to her, Mary Lee, what is in this glass? What is? And she could, thyme. She could pick up those wild herbs because I never really experienced it. But then through time, as I went into her spice box, I started smelling it and seeing if I could, find the same thing in the wine, and you improve your skills, your sense of smell. So, okay, so we identify some initial aromas. What do you think?
It's inviting. I have a hard time describing what I'm smelling, but it's inviting.
Well, okay, just go back to what Kettman said. Okay, he said it's got that
cherry, a little bit of
cherry earthy tones. I see a little,
Yeah.
All right. So now this is what's really going to bring out the smell. We swirl it. Okay. Now be careful when you do this. If you're not experienced, you don't want to ruin this and get this all over your nice table. You want to do it on a clean either a board or a granite top. You swirl it. Look, just nice and easy. What does this do? This releases.
Oxygen.
Yeah, it's receiving the oxygen. The oxygen helps, but it
opens it
releases
up.
all those aromas, the traits. So now, when you smell it, see, it was just sitting there. Everything was concentrated. Now, put your nose in there, and some of those faint aromas now come. Now you get that dark cherry. That boysenberry.
Comes alive a little bit. Yeah.
Is that boysenberry? Yeah, it's a little. There's something else there, like a black, like a jammy thing. Spicy, baking spice. Anything else you want to add?
You're the wine novice. I can't.
Oh, Mike, come on.
I know, but I'm not as descriptive as you.
You're a member of La Bella Vita Club. So, all right. So we did the sight, the smell and swirl. Why we swirl and we smell it again? Because we've just released more aromas. It's increasing from what that originally what we smelled. All right. Now this is the nice part, the fun part.
I've been into the taste already.
I know. So we're gonna what? What are we gonna do? What's number 3 on the list?
Number 3. We have the swirl, which we have been
already
doing.
did that.
We did that. The wines, release the
Number
wines,
4.
which we've done. Sip, roll it in the mouth, and chew.
Okay.
And that doesn't
Now,
mean use your teeth, but just work your mouth.
exactly.
Work your mouth.
This guy, what a wine butler. He's going to get a certification. Okay. So, what I want you to do is just take enough of the wine, all right, that you can work to all corners of your mouth and let it stay there. Now, usually what you do is you try to suck in a little air while it's on your tongue. I don't want you to choke or spit it out.
Or gargle
Just
with it.
put it, for now, right now, get a little taste, put it on your mouth, let it penetrate. Let it sink into that palate, your tongue, all corners. Let's go. Okay, then you swallow. Very nice. Okay. First impressions when it penetrates. When you go to all corners, where did it touch you most? For the front of the mouth, the front of the tongue, which is your sweet spot, the back of the tongue, the back of the mouth.
Probably all over. The first thing that bothers me when I taste the wine is if it's overly dry and it makes you. And this doesn't. This is very nice. It's smooth. It's just nice. And the tingle, not like a bubbly champagne or anything, but a nice tingle. Probably the alcohol on the back of your tongue in the back after you swallow it. Even it gives you a nice. But yeah, it doesn't pick up on the front of my tongue as much as it does deeper. I think that's what I notice it.
Well, it's interesting. The front of your tongue actually picks up all sweetness. When you anything sweet, that's where it comes from. That's the first sensation you're going to get. Pinot Noir,
It's
Pinot
not
Noir.
sweet.
No, it's not. It's got a fruity taste.
Yes.
But there's a difference. Fruity is different from sweet. Okay, this has a fruity taste, meaning that you can taste that fruit. You can taste that dark cherry, in here. And but the interesting thing to me got me right back at where your mouth waters.
Yes.
And that comes in the back of the deep corners of your mouth, and it tells you, wow, this is nice. That's the acidity working, and it doesn't overpower it. So it comes across that the texture of this wine working with that acidity is pretty well balanced, I would think. And it's mouth watering, which what happens when it's mouth watering? It leads you to another sip.
Absolutely.
And now
Absolutely.
we're sipping. What's the next on the card?
Well, now that we sipped it,
We swallowed it.
and we swallowed, we certainly did.
And what does it say for swallow?
And swallowing, taste the sensations and how long do they stay on
That's
your
right.
palate?
That's
how
right.
long?
So when you swallow, this leads to the finish. You hear it's a long finish, a short finish, the finish fades. We want that finish to last a couple of seconds. A high quality wine, 3 to 5. I mean, you taste some Brunellos, Barolos, Chateauneuf du Pape, Burgundies. I mean, they can last for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. This will take a nice 2 to 5, 6 second where it makes us think, it makes us reflect. It says to your senses, wow, I want to have another sip. I think this does it. So let's go to the last card, and what does that say?
Which would be savoring said wine in the fresh, is the dull, soft, harsh, cloying.
Yes.
What is cloying, Jim?
Cloying is sweet.
Sweet.
It just gets syrupy on you, and you say, "Wow!" It's not. There's a balance to sweetness, but you say it's cloying.
Yeah.
And
how acidic is it, and well balanced is it? Yeah.
So let's take another little sip, swallow, and savor it. Okay, and let's think of the first impressions you get that come to your mind.
Well, all wine should be fresh out of the bottle.
Yes, this has a fresh taste.
It's not dull because your brain's telling you there's different things in here that you should be. And it's soft. I think that's why a lot of people like them real low too. It's very soft. But this is a soft, nice Pinot Noir.
Yep.
And you asked me earlier if I had had a bad wine. Well, there are some that are too harsh or cloying, as you would say, or too acidic. But this isn't, and it doesn't have that dryness, which I hate. That.
I tried to find a data fact sheet on this because I was interested. It doesn't have that Pinot Noir oaky, woodsy taste. from aging in oak barrels. Sometimes they try to do that. This has a purity of expression. So this probably sees a steel tank fermentation, okay,
Do you know
and
that?
probably
Do you know that
ages.
for sure? Or-
No, but it doesn't have.
Yeah. Well,
It's smooth, but it doesn't have that vanilla notes to it or caramel.
it does
okay,
not. It
so it has a little. It's pure. I would imagine that this is a steel tank fermentation. A little oak. It might see a touch of it, but it's not. It could be used oak or neutral oak. It's very, very nice, tasty, mouth-watering. Got a little. It's spice. It's got a nice spicy, peppery finish. Okay, and I really find it enjoyable for $17.99. What do you think?
excellent. I find it a fine wine, and it'd be a good wine for the upcoming Thanksgiving. I
Okay.
think. Like me.
Well, now we're going to do something. Okay, we're going to bring in our first ever celebrity taster, and we're going to see what he thinks of it. And I think in honor of InsideLowell.com, our first taster should be.
Well, I'd like to have one with a little restaurant experience. It might want to put it on his, yeah.
Who?
How about Teddy Panos?
Oh, Mike, I thought you'd never say it. Have a grape.
Yeah,
All right.
I deserve
Yes,
a
Teddy
grape.
Panos, who started Inside.com. Lowell, who is the longtime morning radio host for WCAP. He's the proud owner and works very, very hard at Athenian Corner in downtown Lowell, one of the top Greek restaurants in the area. Okay, and the family has been serving customers and doing a fine job for years. They're one of the backbones of Lowell, and Teddy's been a good contributor. So, Teddy, welcome to our show.
Thank you. I finally arrived as a celebrity. I can't tell you how much of an honor this is.
Have a grape.
I've been trying to pick at this plate while you guys were on camera.
Yeah, and we're going to have a little goat cheese. It's going to prime the pump. Okay, a little cracker,
Goat
plain
cheese,
cracker with
right.
goat cheese.
Now we're talking.
You can pour it
Mr.
yourself
Wine
down
Bu-
because
no, the Wine Butler has
my
to pour
God.
that.
I will spill it.
The Wine Butler has to pour that. Okay, take the cap off, please.
I know. Well, when I get there.
So, Teddy, are you a wine drinker? Do you fancy yourself a wine drinker?
Do I drink it? Yes. Do I know what I'm talking about? Not at all.
Neither
That's
do
why
I.
the first half hour of this was very educational for me. I didn't know a lot of the stuff. I'll sit there and I'll do the swirl just because I see everybody else doing it, but I didn't know really why you do it. I didn't know about the color. I didn't know a lot about this stuff, but I do know when I like the taste of something,
Yes.
as most human beings do.
So the Wine Butler poured you a very hefty glass there. I hope you're not going to work right away after this. I hope you're not cutting any lamb.
I don't want to have him ask for seconds. Just,
Well, if I get drunk, I'll remember to turn on my microphone, which I just did now, so I sound a little bit better. But you could pick me up faintly in the background there. But
So what we want you to do is look at that. Look at the wine. Tell us what you see quickly.
all right, the color.
Yeah.
Very bold. I'm doing the little tippy thing. I'll put it up against the white plate as a background here.
Very good.
See, I did pay attention. You said hold it up against like some white paper. And as you said, darker down below, but the top, the lip, the rim, very much lighter in color. Almost, you can almost see through it.
Yeah. So the dark color tells us that it's fresh. It's a fresh, new, young wine. Like I said, as red wines, they get older. They just fade slightly. Not it's usually 10 years after 10 years. Shelf wines, which I consider this a shelf wine, you wouldn't sell this for more than 3 to 4 years. This is made to be sold right away. It probably lasts a good 5 years. It'll be a good tasting wine. After that, you could use it for salad dressing. But all right. So put your nose in there. Smell it.
Will it fit? We might need a bigger glass.
First impressions. You swirled already. So give us your first impressions. What comes to mind?
It smells good. Mm-hmm. That smells good.
Okay, now
There's a lot of flavor in here.
Okay. The focus now is to get those senses, that olfactory senses working. In your first You've been around fruit. You've been around. Do you smell a fruit in there? Do you
Oh,
smell?
yes, I do a little bit.
Okay.
Which one it is, I couldn't tell you. But
Okay.
you did say, I think you did discuss cherry, right?
Yeah. Do you get floral notes from aromas, or do you get earthy tones?
I'm gonna guess earthy on
Okay.
this one, but I could be
Good.
wrong.
Good. Very good.
Am I doing well so far?
Yeah. Everybody's palate is different, and everybody senses wines differently. So
Okay.
there's no right or wrong answer. I've been with sommeliers much more experienced than I. They start arguing over whether it's pink grapefruit smell or the regular yellow grapefruit smell. And I said, this is ridiculous. It's grapefruit, it's the taste is grapefruit, and stuff. But anyway, have a sip and let it penetrate in first impressions.
That's a good one. That's a wine that I would buy for the house or order
What
if I would see it
impresses
on a
you?
menu.
What impresses you about it?
The taste. I like fruity flavors, and I can taste that right there. It's not dry wines. I don't really like, so I would instantly kind of
And
turn away from that. But this I can taste the fruit right away.
And for the price, it even makes it a better wine, in my opinion.
Yeah, sounds good. I like the price point Jim was discussing earlier.
Yeah.
Although, come on, you make enough money. You could have bought it for the $21. You didn't need to see it on sale.
Well, that's a good point. As Mike knows, he's been in my wine cellar. I've been a collector for years. I've got some very nice fine wines. But most of the time when I'm drinking wine at home, sharing pizza or just a simple pasta dish, I look for the value in wine. Okay, I'm not going to overpay for something that isn't worth $1. Okay, in my wallet. I'm retired now, and I say this. Women are great shoppers. All right, they go to stores. They go to Market Basket, they check the prices at Hannaford, and then they say, wow, this is where I'm going to go. I'm going to buy my food. They like it. They put it on their list. They keep it there, okay? They comparison shop. Why don't we do that with wine, okay? And you should do the same. And I keep a log book. Mike even started doing one too, of every wine we taste, and I rate them with the name, the year, and everything, and then the price. And then after the end of 3 or 4 months, you've got a list of wines you like that fit that sweet spot. Okay? So I know, if I'm drinking a Pinot Grigio, I'm not going to pay over $20 for Pinot Grigio, but there are a lot of good ones for $15 to $20, even less than that. So look for the wines that you like, that you appreciate. The flavors are nice, they click, you buy it.
So as the wine novice, you know this. As a wine amateur, to me, immediately, the price point to me is kind of a signal of the quality. But you're telling me that's not necessarily the case, especially when you're in that, $15 to $20, $25 price range.
Well, the more you learn about wine, you find out, yes, there are $100 bottles of wine that are worth $100 because of where they come from, the terroir. And it's like anything else, even in your business, supply and demand. There's just not enough of it. They can only make so much wine on this certain quality acreage. And then what happens in the production facility? I'm not saying that Camus isn't worth $150. Camus Cabernet, no, it is. But there's a reason it is. Okay, and the question is, that's your special. To me, that's a special occasion wine. If I'm going out on an anniversary, we go out, to Capitol Grill. We're going to splurge a couple of $100 on a bottle of wine. All right, but for everyday drinking and enjoyment with friends and stuff, I'm not going to break out my Drew Bledsoe $100 Cabernet Sauvignon and just pour it over a hamburger.
Now that's a wine tasting celebrity, by the way. Drew Bledsoe should be sitting in this seat, not me.
Hopefully, we'll talk to Drew in the coming weeks. But I want people to understand that when they just grab something off the shelf and pay $10 to $12 for it, there's a difference in quality, even in that $10 to $12 range. did you just pick up a bulk wine, or did you pick up a bottle that a winemaker actually made it on his farm, that did it himself, and spent time with that, to do it? Because there are a lot of people who are family-run businesses like the one you have. They're only get 10 acres. And they're doing the best they can, and it's really good. So to value things.
So where can I find this? Angels Ink Pinot Noir. And by the way, I do not like Pinot Noirs generally. I really like this. I would buy this for my home.
Good with the lamb, grilled meats, salads. You can even drink this Pinot Noir with some salmon. I mean, salmon fish. So this was.
Locally, near locally?
Well, I would say look locally for it. I mean, we've got some great family-owned package stores, but I found this at the New Hampshire liquor store. It's on sale until the end of November, November 27th. Okay. But you can go on websites for your local package store and see it. And but I think it's worth hunting down in that price range.
Most definitely. For me, most definitely.
I'd have to do my research. If that was $21.99, it's still, I think, a decent wine for $21.99. But I'd be looking for the wine I could get cheaper. That's the same quality that offers me value.
Now, I've never seen this though on a menu, and my wife and I, when we go out to dinner, we do look at the wine list, and that's a label, that's a name I have never seen. Why are some wines like popular in restaurants, whereas others you can only find in a package store or a winery?
So this is a small quantity with a limited production, I assume. Okay, that's probably why I couldn't find the data sheets on it and stuff, as opposed to Kendall Jackson, Saint Michel from Chateau Saint Michel from Washington State, Mondavi wines. We've all seen the big ones. So the volume matters a lot, and then they can get them at the stores. I think this is a local operation with some network with the state liquor stores and stuff like that. It's a new wine. Like I said, I had never seen it before. That's what intrigued me and why I tried it and purchased it.
Local operation, another reason to try it, right?
Yes, in the Central Coast. So it's always good, and this is what the I hope to do in this continuing shows, to give some insights on these bottles of wines that are out there that offer value to consumers and stuff. What do you say, Mike?
Yeah, I'm agreeable.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I'm going to let you guys finish the show. I'm going to step off camera here and enjoy my great cheese and wine.
We've got other things. We've got other things to do this day, right?
We do.
When you hear that bell,
That's it.
Okay, that means we're moving on. Okay, so what I want you to know, if you want to be a celebrity taster in the future, I'm gonna give you where to send me a message. Okay, it's Jim at Grapefully Yours.live. Now, here it is. Here it is. Jim at gratefullyyours.live. Now, don't be like President Biden and spell out .dot, okay? It's a little punctuation mark there, dot, okay? And you could write your notes, send me your name, your address, and just tell me briefly, what wine you like to drink. That's all. And hopefully you can be a celebrity taster in the future. Does that sound fair, Mike?
Fair.
Okay. If you have any questions about wine, you can also send me questions to gratefullyyours.live. We'll read your name if you want us to, and we'll answer your questions. Now, going back to you, Teddy, don't we have a place on a website where they can submit? Do they have a submit? I saw the email address.
Yes,
to submit
on your
questions.
podcast, once we post it immediately following the recording, they'll be able to send. They'll be able to put feedback directly in there. They can also send emails to info@InsideLowell.com. But I prefer they use your website so you can respond to them directly. You don't want me answering about wines. I'll tell you that much.
So that's why Jim at gratefullyyours.live. Okay, send me your questions. If you want to be a celebrity taster, let us know. Of course, I'd have to consult the wine butler, right?
I give a lot of green lights.
He gives a lot of green lights. Okay. So closing thoughts on our first show. What do you think, Mike? Would you?
Well, we've certainly introduced people to the basics, what
Yeah.
they should look for. It might sound a little complicated in the beginning and intimidating, but you don't have to go deeply into these things. But try these wines and look for the best value. And when you're buying, don't be afraid to ask somebody in the store if you're having a food.
Exactly.
You know, should I go with a Pinot Noir or some other one? And they'll help. Don't be bashful.
Yeah, and that's a good point because this is your first exercise of the week. Okay, on our next show, we're going to duel on the viticultural battlefield with oaked and unoaked Chardonnay. We'll also have a new celebrity taster in the house to go mano a mano,
Or
palate to palate,
to palate.
with the Wine Butler and the Wine Novice on wine and the weekly segment. Now, what I want you to do, okay, go to your local liquor store, get either a bottle of oaked wine, look for on the label, read the back of the label. That would be toasty, vanilla, creamy notes in the wine, or just ask the store person. An unoaked wine would be just strictly done in stainless steel, would have no wood
A
fermentation.
Chablis would be okay.
A
Try
Chablis,
a Chablis.
a French Chablis would be good, but you'd be
Excellent.
spending probably over $20 to find a decent Chablis. So I'm going to tell you,
Smoking Loon has an unoaked.
yes,
Chardonnay
smoking. That's
along
good.
with
good.
with
So we'll make some recommendations. Smoking Loon, okay. Pam's unoaked Chardonnay. If you see that bottle, it's a big letters. Pam's, P-A-M, apostrophe S, unoaked Chardonnay. Sell it at New Hampshire liquor stores, the Wine Connection, and probably local stores. Okay, for an oaked Chardonnay, most of them you get the Chateau Saint Michel. You have Kendall Jackson Reserve.
And any Chablis, I love Chablis.
Yeah,
It's-
Chablis is unoaked. So we're going to taste the difference between those, what we prefer. Okay, so you will know as a consumer, you know, what you are tasting, what you are drinking, and under what circumstances you want them. So until then, drink safely, enjoy, and may the wine be with you.
Salute.